Hey folks, how you doing? If you're a DC fan, you probably know how huge, detailed, and yet confusing this company's animated universe is. Today, we're going to dissect this massive world for you. First, I'll tell you how these films are divided. Then we'll map out the complete DCAMU timeline film by film, with details and scores. And finally, we'll give a final grade to the entire universe. We divide DC animated movies into two main groups. The universes connected, like DCAMU or Tomorrowverse, which have a single, continuous storyline and must be watched in order to understand the narrative. Standalones, independent, animated films based on classic comic book stories that have no connection to the others. You can watch any of them without any particular order. Today, we're diving into the most important section, the DCAMU, a 16-part universe that began with one disaster and ended with an even greater one. For each film, we'll provide a review and a score out of 10, and I'll give you the complete viewing order for this universe. Let's go for a definitive and unprecedented ranking. So if you love DC, smash that like button and let's get started. 1. Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox. The Flashpoint story is so critically important to DC's lore that this prompted the studio's animated division to release a new adaptation of the comic, titled Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox, to set the stage for the events we will explore next. In this animation, we witness Barry Allen traveling through time to go back to the past and save his mother's life. However, his action leads to a cascading butterfly effect that puts the world on the brink of destruction. In this new timeline, Barry's wife is married to someone else, and the Justice League was never formed. Furthermore, Wonder Woman is at war with Aquaman, and Thomas Wayne, after the death of his son Bruce, has become a merciless and brutal Batman. The events of Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox are very dark and lay the foundation for the new stories that form the DCAMU. My score, 9 out of 10. I give this movie a 9 out of 10 because I think it was a very strong adaptation and an excellent starter for a universe. This film is not only violent and emotional, but it precisely answers how all subsequent events are going to happen in a new and different world. New question. Now that the world is reset, how does the Justice League form? 2. Justice League War. After the Flashpoint events shape the new world known as the New 52, a new story unfolds in the DC animated world titled Justice League War, which essentially forms the groundwork for a massive universe. In Justice League War, we witness mysterious events occurring in Gotham City, bringing Darkseid's parademons into the narrative. This film also marks the first time we see an extensive storyline revolving around Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, whose body, when combined with ancient technology, gains diverse and deadly capabilities. The post-credit scene of this animation also hints at Aquaman, who will be instrumental in one of the DCAMU's future major events. My score, 7.5 out of 10. I give this movie a 7.5 out of 10 because I think it introduced the Justice League well, although the depth of the characters wasn't much explored. Overall, it was a good animation. 3. Son of Batman. The animation of Son of Batman has the task of tackling an event that few could have predicted, the introduction of Damian Wayne, the son of Talia al Ghul and Bruce Wayne. In this work, we witness a fascinating duality. On one side, we have Batman, always committed to his no-kill rule, and on the other, Damian Wayne, trained by the League of Assassins, causing this father and son to clash over their ideals. However, when Deathstroke kills Ra's al Ghul and is declared the new leader of the League, Talia's life is endangered, forcing Bruce and Damian to unite against Deathstroke's evil plan despite their differences. My score, 7.5 out of 10. I give this animation a 7.5 out of 10 because the animation successfully introduced us to Damian and some of the Bat family members like Nightwing. I personally love Deathstroke's role in this film, especially the opening scene and the surprise attack on Ra's al Ghul. However, I think the overall relationship between Damian and Batman wasn't very well developed, although we saw more of their conflicts in later animations. 4. Justice League: Throne of Atlantis. Following the hint about Aquaman at the end of Justice League War, Arthur Curry officially enters the DC animated universe with the Justice League: Throne of Atlantis marking one of the most exciting events on this list. In this animation, we witness events orchestrated by Orm to seize control of all Atlantis. Mira seeks out Arthur to reveal the truth about his life, convince him to claim the Atlantean throne, and ultimately facilitate his membership in the Justice League. This animation not only showcases the underwater world of DC, but also firmly establishes Aquaman as the ruler of Atlantis. My score, 6 out of 10. This film is based on the events of Justice League War and introduces Aquaman as a key member. The score of 6 is given due to the weak origin story, the Russian character development, and its minimal impact on the main universe storyline. 5. Nightwing and Robin, short. Despite being only 45 seconds long, the Nightwing and Robin animation takes place amidst the events of Justice League Throne of Atlantis and sets the stage for a major event that will happen to the Dark Knight in the future. Robin and Nightwing team up to find the Scarecrow and locate his hidden lair. This short 45-second piece, featuring intense action, culminates in the appearance of a very suspicious stranger, foreshadowing the Court of Owls storyline, which delivers captivating moments in the DCAMU. 6. Batman vs. Robin. The Court of Owls storyline is so popular and mysterious that it even prompted Warner Brothers to create a dedicated video game around it called Gotham Knights. In the DC animated universe, the short Nightwing and Robin signals the entry of these wicked villains into the DCAMU, while Bruce and Damian are working on mending their father-son relationship to put their differences aside and form a unique team. All their efforts are ruined by the arrival of a mysterious figure called Talon, who kidnaps Damian and exploits their conflicts to turn him against Batman. My score, 7.5 out of 10. A score of 7.5 is given for the good action and the continued development of Damian's character as Robin. This film prepares Damian for his future adventures. 7. Batman Bad Blood. This film marks the first appearance of Batwoman in the DC animated universe. Alongside Nightwing and Robin, she is tasked with confronting an experiment to create human clones and prevent the creation of highly deadly soldiers. Their adventure also brings other characters such as Talia al Ghul back into the story, effectively forming a team in Gotham City to save the entire world. Bad Blood demonstrates how the Dark Knight's allies can form a new alliance and save the world in his absence. This film introduces Nightwing, Batwoman, and Batwing to the universe. My score, 7 out of 10. A score of 7 is given for the successful introduction of supporting characters and their importance when Batman disappears. 8. Justice League vs. Teen Titans. After the release of 7 exciting and spectacular films, it was time for 2 of the DC animated universe's most prominent teams, the Justice League and the Teen Titans, to face off in the Justice League vs. Teen Titans project. In this animation, we see an escalation of Robin's conflict with his father, leading him to convince the rest of the Teen Titans to leave their current location with the Justice League and act independently. However, their separation leads to events where Raven's character and her mysterious past are challenged. Her father, known as a high-ranking demon, declares war on the Justice League, plunging the young DC superheroes into a horrific and terrifying battle. My score, 8 out of 10. A score of 8 is given for opening the Titan storyline and the great chemistry between the new team members. 9. Justice League Dark. Following Raven's father's declaration of war on the Justice League and the introduction of supernatural and magical powers into the DCAMU, the Justice League Dark animation takes a completely new and different direction revolving around lesser explored characters. In this animation, Batman forms a new team of heroes, including Constantine, Deadman, Zatanna, Black Orchid, and Swamp Thing, to confront a supernatural force that controls people's minds and causes horrifying illusions. This team, calling themselves the Justice League Dark, enters a new realm of the DC world that astounds audiences and delivers unique and exciting events never before seen in the DC animated universe. My score, 8.5 out of 10. A score of 8.5 is given to the successful introduction of the magical aspects, the mature and different tone from the other films, and the strong character development of Constantine. 10. Teen Titans, The Judas Contract. The Teen Titans The Judas Contract is recognized as the direct sequel to Justice League vs. Teen Titans, released in 2016. It once again focuses the DC animated universe on the Teen Titan group, confronting them with a completely new and very dangerous threat. Deathstroke, who suffered a heavy defeat after the events of Son of Batman, returns to devise new and unpredictable schemes to dismantle the new Teen Titan group and achieve his sinister goals. However, it is revealed that he himself is a pawn of a powerful individual who is not only a threat to this young group, but could also put the Justice League and the entire world at risk of destruction. My score, 8.5 out of 10. This film is a very emotional and faithful adaptation of one of the best classic Titan stories.
The Betrayal of Terra. A score of 8.5 is given for its emotional depth, excellent battles, and impact on Damian Wayne's character arc. One of the best middle films in the universe.
11. Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay. While the DC animated universe enters a very large and important storyline, a film titled Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay is released in 2018 that features an independent story, introducing audiences to completely new characters and events. In this film, we see a team of dangerous DC supervillains assembled by Amanda Waller, who are tasked with confronting a very horrific and sinister threat. Although their mission to fulfill Waller's demand has nothing to do with the DCAMU's main events, the presence of characters like Reverse Flash creates subplots that remind audiences of the connection between Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay and the rest of this world's stories. My score, 7.5 out of 10. A score of 7.5 is given for its faithfulness to the team's violent nature and non-stop action, but its minimal direct connection to the main Justice League storyline. 12. Constantine, City of Demons. Following the introduction of John Constantine to the DC animated universe in 2017 through Justice League Dark, a series titled City of Demons was created, focusing on this character and delving further into the supernatural world. In this work, Constantine is tasked with helping an old friend who was in a coma by battling demons that threaten to destroy the entire city and even challenge the dark past of his own life. His number one enemy, Nergal, also enters the story amidst this series, allowing us to experience John Constantine's immense powers through his menacing presence. My score, 7 out of 10. A score of 7 is given for further exploring Constantine's character. 13. The Death of Superman. Unlike most works in the DC animated universe, which have been free adaptations of the studio's comics, the animation The Death of Superman boasts the highest fidelity to its source material. In this film, as Clark Kent and Lois Lane's relationship enters a new phase, he reveals his true identity to Lois so they can continue their life together more seriously. However, a powerful creature named Doomsday appears, and all members of the Justice League fail to stop him. Only Superman can resist the monster's destruction. His fight with Doomsday is one of the most epic events in all of comic history and the DC animated universe, and it is so beautifully and powerfully rendered that it truly tears at the audience's emotions. The success of The Death of Superman prompted DC to create new and exclusive events for Superman, which we will cover next. My score, 8.5 out of 10. A score of 8.5 is given due to the deep focus on the Superman and Lois relationship and the impact of his death on all the heroes. 14. Reign of the Superman. Following Superman's epic conclusion in the 2018 film, the DC studio released its sequel the following year, which takes place 6 months after the fight with Doomsday and presents the mysterious return of Clark Kent to the audience. While the absence of the original Superman had allowed Lex Luthor to create a new clone of him called Superboy, the ensuing events bring multiple different Supermens into the DCAMU, causing chaotic turmoil. However, Clark Kent eventually returns to end the threat posed by his clones, alongside Superboy and a character known as Steel, saving the world from certain destruction. My score, 7 out of 10. A score of 7 is given because of the busy action and the introduction of too many characters in a short time. It's an important film for the continuation of the story, but it feels a bit rushed. 15. Batman: Hush. After we last saw the Dark Knight during Superman's confrontation with Doomsday, thanks to Batman: Hush, the animation, we can return to Gotham once more and experience another adventure with Batman. In this film, which has many major and minor changes compared to the comics, Batman is tasked with confronting his childhood friend, who has turned into a very dangerous threat, creating mysterious and exciting events for the audience. The new villain of Gotham City, hiding behind a terrifying mask, challenges Bruce Wayne's personal life and past, bringing forth events about Batman that have never been told in the DC animated universe before, making it fresh for the audience. My score, 6.5 out of 10. An adaptation of the famous story, but with major changes to the main villain's identity. A score of 6.5 is given due to fan dissatisfaction with the changes to a key storyline and the excessive focus on Bruce and Selina's relationship. 16. Wonder Woman: Bloodlines.
Finally, after years of waiting, we witnessed the first exclusive work for Wonder Woman in the DC animated universe, titled Bloodlines, which delves into her personal life and introduces new characters to the DCAMU. In this animation, Diana is exiled from her homeland by her mother due to her feelings for Steve Trevor. She attempts to gain new powers by overcoming an ancient and magical curse and find her way home. Along the way, with the cooperation of Steve Trevor, she is forced to confront an alliance of her enemies, which creates exciting and spectacular moments. Wonder Woman Bloodlines is one of the few works in the DCAMU that has no reliance on Superman, Batman, or the rest of the Justice League members, yet successfully manages to deliver a compelling and unique narrative to the audience. My score, 6.5 out of 10. A score of 6.5 is given for the average quality of the story and the failure to use Wonder Woman's full potential. 17. Justice League Dark Apokolips War. 4 years after the Justice League's exclusive project, Justice League vs. Teen Titans, the DC animated universe entered the final phase of its epic, leading to the release of Apokolips War. In this animation, which marks the end of the DCAMU saga, the Justice League, the Teen Titans, the Justice League Dark, and the Suicide Squad are all forced to unite to face the universe's greatest supervillain, Darkseid. However, Darkseid's attack on Earth continues, and half of the aforementioned members are massacred by him. Subsequently, planet Earth falls, and Darkseid's reign begins. My score, 10 out of 10. A score of 10 is given for the storytelling courage, the successful weaving together of all the storylines, and a shocking and peerless ending for the universe. 18. Constantine, the House of Mystery. Although it seemed that the DC animated universe had concluded with Justice League Dark Apokolips War, the House of Mystery was created to explore the untold subplots of the DCAMU while addressing the consequences of the horrific battle with Darkseid, painting the world from a new perspective for the audience. Thanks to the intervention of the Flash, which leads to the rewriting of world history, Constantine is thrown into a new world where he is tasked with spending the rest of his life hunting the remaining demons. While Constantine the House of Mystery is considered an epic finale to over a decade of events in the DCAMU, it leaves the door open for the creation of more works. Final conclusion. Considering all its strengths, including the revolutionary start with Flashpoint Paradox and the brave and ruthless ending with Apokolips War, this universe succeeded in telling a continuous saga for 7 years. Despite some quality fluctuations in the middle, its success in developing characters like Damian Wayne and maintaining narrative integrity is undeniable. And my final score for this universe is 8.5 out of 10. Alright folks, that was the complete roadmap for the DCAMU. Now you can comfortably sit back and enjoy the interconnected stories. But wait, one important thing remains. As you saw, this universe started with Flashpoint and ended with a complete reset. What happened next? If you want to know what new world DC started after this devastating ending and what the viewing order for the next universe, Tomorrowverse, is, subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss the next video. What was your favorite DCAMU movie? Write it for me in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until another cinematic analysis, peace out.